I have with me CEO of Diesel Laptops, the company responsible for the Diesel Parts platform. This is Tyler Robertson, for those who don't know him. Tyler, glad to have you here to help us review this Diesel Parts platform.
Hey, anytime I get a chance to talk about truck parts and diesel parts, I'm all for it. So I look forward to this.
Tyler, let's talk about Diesel Parts. First of all, where do people go to get access to it? What's the website?
Yeah, pretty easy. It's parts.diesellaptops.com, and they'll be on there and be able to log in and create their account and go.
Okay, so let's actually walk people through that process. Why don't you share your screen?
Yep.
Go to parts.diesellaptops.com. We'll make that link available in the video replay email that goes out. And yeah, share your screen there. And I just want to walk people through how easy it is to create a free account.
All right, so you can see it pretty good, Jamie?
I can see it. That's great.
Yep, so just simply go to parts.diesellaptops.com. And when you come in here, if you've never been on the platform before, just create your free account. So you just go in here, fill out a little bit of information, hit register, and you'll essentially be signed up. So there's no credit card needed, nothing really complicated at all. It's very simple to do.
Do you get like some sort of security code or something that you have to put in when you go through this process?
Yeah, it'll email you to verify your email address. So it's amazing how many people type in their email the wrong email address and then they can't figure out why they log in. So we do kind of go through a process there to make sure they typed in their email address correctly.
All right, so we go to parts.diesellaptops.com, we create a free account. Now, for a company that has multiple locations, do they sign up once and then that gives everyone access, or should each individual user set up their own account using their personal email, or corporate email rather?
Yeah, for right now, it's sign up yourself under your own email. We are building some stuff on the back end to kind of manage users underneath companies, but that's kind of a big infrastructural change thing. Literally got out of a meeting just talking about that, but it is coming in the near future to help simplify the process.
Okay, so each individual user, whether you're a parts person, a parts manager, repair technician, if you want to get access to this, you go in with your email, set up your own account, that gives you access to it. Now let's go through some of what people can do once they get here. So first of all, if they have a part number that they want to cross, where should they go?
Yep, really easy. Just click on Parts Cross-Reference. And this will land them on a page here to essentially type in whatever part number they're looking for. So
could we look up like an air dryer, for example, because I'd like to also talk about recommended parts.
Yeah, I actually have, I thought you were going to ask that question. So I have one ready to go for recommended parts. It's an older one. We do have some of the, 89 dryers and some other stuff in there too. So I just typed in a part number, click the little button or hit enter, and the search is really, really quick. We really pride ourselves actually on the speed of our search engine on this whole back end thing.
Okay, so now we bring that up.
Yep, and as you can see, there's multiple ones, right? Because you could have a reman, you could have a new one. It looks like we use that same number at Meritor, including that number, and Fruhoff is also using that number as well, but some different situations. So we're going to click on the one we want, and now we're populated with a bunch of information on that part number. So the things we have at the very top is the manufacturer, description. We take this VMRS code. So if people aren't familiar with VMRS codes, it's a really common thing that major fleets do to try to figure out, they code their parts, their labor, they code a bunch of things so they can do analysis trying to figure out where their money is being spent, and they go into 20 groups to compare themselves with each other. But we include the VMRS code, but we only do it to 6 digits. So we haven't gone to all 9 digits. We have millions of part numbers to go. And we felt at this point, it really wasn't the effort to go all 9 digits quite yet, but hopefully we'll get there in the near future.
Okay, and so recommended parts. Now, not every part that you put into the cross-reference is going to have recommended parts, but an air dryer is such a good example where this is something that is important, because as we all know, maybe somebody says, well, I got this 82 cartridge I need, and the parts person thinks, that's an old piece of equipment. They might need a few other parts. How does recommended parts play a role in that?
Yeah, so we're going to be doing a couple things with recommended parts. So number one, it's like you said, I have this air dryer, but maybe I need the refill cartridge. Maybe I need the check valve maintenance kit. Maybe I need the thermostat cover kit. Maybe to rebuild the heater portion of it. So we kind of list out all those accessory parts that you may need for that single part. And the other thing that we're going to be adding to this feature in the near future is other parts you may need for that repair. So for example, if you're replacing an injector on an engine, you probably need a valve cover gasket for it as well. So we're going to start detailing out all those things that people need for all the common stuff that's out there, and we have a plan to put all that together.
Right, and Diesel Laptops has done a really great job of building a very solid database. You have how many part numbers now in the database roughly?
Yeah, so there's 1.6 million unique part numbers. And what I want to clarify there is our search algorithm is very, very smart. So a lot of prefixes, suffixes, dashes, slashes, and other systems you use may show all those and count them as unique, but we try really hard to limit it down to one. And we actually have a full-time person that's all they do is they're constantly going through every manufacturer, making sure all the part numbers are clean and prefixes are gone and nothing wonky's happening there. So we put a lot of effort towards it.
And could you explain to the group that's watching today, what's the difference between a direct cross and an indirect cross in diesel parts?
Yep. So let's go back over here to the equivalent parts tab. So these are all the parts that could cross to this part number. So cross-reference tables. And we build those one of two ways. So number one is we try to get information from the OEM, or we get our hands on a catalog or a PDF. And we have a very large team that is just inputting that information into the system. So those are what we call direct crosses. We know those are correct because they got them from an OEM source. With the little asterisk next to theirs, sometimes the OEMs always don't have good data, so we find errors there that we got to deal with all the time.
We're only as good as the OEs are.
Yeah, yeah. Then we have what is unique to us is we looked at this and we said, man, if we have a manufacturer, and I'm going to give you a great example here. So I'm going to type in A6909. This is a common shift knob valve that you find on transmissions. So A6909 is the manufacturer. Eaton makes that. If you go buy that from Mac, you can actually buy it two ways. You can actually go buy the genuine Eaton part number. They'll probably have a prefix in front of it with some digits. Or I can buy the actual Mac and Volvo part number, which is 8071328. Or I can buy the international one, which is this number as well. So what our team has done is we take all these known matches and then we look at these group of parts, and our search algorithm basically comes back and says, hey, manufacturer A crossed to this guy, B crossed to this one, but no one crossed A and B together. So these things are probably cross references. So the ones that we believe are also legit cross references, we call indirect cross references. So you'll find quite a few of those in there as well.
Right. So this is where one manufacturer is making the part, but they're white labeling it to the OEs under their MAC number, their international number. And then you might also have an occasion where you have several aftermarket companies now making aftermarket options based on that OE original part. And so then those become crosses as well. So this is where this balloons out to 30 million different indirect crosses.
Yeah, so our system, when we turned it on, it wanted to make 30 million cross references. And we said, surely that can't be right. That's too many, right? But we went through the whole process. And to this point, we've approved about 15 million of those unknown cross references. And the other 15 million, we said, we're going to come back to this later. We got more important things to do. We got 15 million more than anybody else does. We'll circle back to it. But it is in there. It is one of those things. Again, this is obviously we think this is a finished product in terms of what we're presenting to the user, but there's always database work that's happening in the background. And we have over 30 people just working on database stuff, creating content and adding content.
Right, and to give people who are watching today an idea of how this database is expanding, one of the roles that I've played in the company is really working with manufacturers to provide us with data. So even just in the last few weeks, we've had an all makes manufacturer come on board. We've had a Reman turbo manufacturer. We've just yesterday, you don't even know about this, Tyler, have a new filter manufacturer giving us all their data. So every month when people come back using diesel parts, the database is actually expanding.
Right. So if the customers click on news down here, they can see it. Every Friday, we post kind of a new update on what's going on. Sometimes they're new user interface things. We also have a sister platform called Diesel Repair that we list out all the content with. And then we, of course, list out. So that 1 week, we added 17,600 new part numbers. And we added a new complete engine book here under parts lookup that we're going to talk about here in a second as well.
Right, and for anyone who wants to go and check out that sister platform, it's repair.diesellaptops.com, and the login that you created for parts works for both. So you get access to both platforms, just have to go to the right website.
Exactly. So that's cross-reference.
All right, well,
explain it.
That's when you have a part number. The big goal here is to provide people with information if they don't have a part number, and this brings us to the parts lookup. Can you explain to me exploded views?
Yep, exploded views are so what you typically see at an OEM, right? So typically, I know I need a part. I have to call a dealer or call or walk into a store and they say, "What's your VIN number?" And I give them my VIN. And then the guy behind the counter types it in and then he sees exploded views and he tries to figure out what you need. So we want to create that, but we want to do it without a VIN. OEMs are not going to give us all their VIN information for all these vehicles. So we need to create a way for the aftermarket world to look up their own parts. So that's what we did with exploded views. So to do an easy example using a part number I just used, we'll walk through one first and then we'll show you what else we have. But Eaton transmissions. So Eaton transmissions, we have, as you can see, there are a ton of model transmissions listed in here. And on each one of these transmissions, our team literally had to go in here and build out all these exploded views for all of these different components for each transmission. So all the things you're seeing, this is original artwork by Diesel Laptops. It's our team that's gone through. You can look at the numbers. You can't click on them. You can click on the picture and zoom in if you wanted to, but down here it lists the reference number on each of them. So let's go to one of those ones I had just talked about, and that was the shift knob. So I'm gonna go to a shift knob valve. And now I have my exploded view. I can see that 999 is the entire shift valve. I could order those individual pieces or look those up if I wanted to. So I'm gonna go all the way to the bottom here to 999. I'm gonna click on view parts detail. It's doing a search in our database for A6909. I want that one. And there's the part that we were looking at before. So we've tied in the exploded views all the way back to the exact part number that they need to buy. And the one thing I did, we kind of glossed over, but it's obvious, is there are some punch outs here to Amazon or Google or eBay. And we wanted to do that just to make it easy for people to try to kind of go to those platforms if they're trying to do a little more research or learn more about those things.
Okay, so with exploded views, I see engines, I see transmissions, but there's also whole trucks. So this is something that's still in development, but I'd like to show people the entire truck and just for them to understand kind of where the direction that we're going. Now we're focusing on 2010 to 2016 is the main focus right now, trying to get all of the North American manufactured trucks in the database. So show us how that works.
Yeah, so it's 2010 through 16 is our target range, and we picked the most two popular make models for each. So for Freightliner, we said we need to have Cascadia, we need to have M2. For International, we said we need ProStar, we need Durastar. So we went through, and we did that for the engines as well. So we went through here, and it's the same thing. You just kind of pick your category that you're looking at here. So let's do a front bumper. In front bumper, there's possibly some different variants. This one doesn't particularly have a picture on it. So let me go pull one up here. Let's do we can do another one of those. Again, this is why I probably should have went through here first and found some better ones that have some pictures. But there's one that has a picture on it. It does have 3 variants. You could flip through the different ones to look at the different pictures and try to figure out which one you have.
But that's why exploded views and the images are so important, because it really points your attention to these variants. Trucks are built as work trucks. They're spec'd. So in one model, there may be 3 variants, and we have those pictures so that people can usually very quickly identify visually the differences, and then the details are built in underneath.
Exactly. So we go through, try to build out all those tables. It's a lot of steps. We have to analyze a lot of trucks and do a lot of artwork and do a lot of research for every little component on those things. And again, the goal is 2010 through 2016, 2 most popular models for everybody. We actually believe we'll have at least that range done early Q2, late Q1, somewhere in that neighborhood is really the goal to get all those things listed out for that. So
all right,
making progress.
Yeah, so that's exploded views. Again, every month you can go to the news section. You'll see when an entire module is released. When they talk about that module, that's what they're talking about. They're talking about an entire parts book for either an engine or for an entire truck. So that's really exciting. Now, sometimes it makes more sense to just look up a part by the category of part. You've got component search there. Explain how that works for us.
Yeah, so component search is when it's reverse, right? So maybe I need that after treatment system, but as you could see when I was in these, there's some big long menus. You don't know if after treatment's under exhaust, is under after treatment, where do we put it at? We are standardized, but sometimes it's quicker to do it this way. So if I'm looking for an after treatment filter, it's much easier for me to go to after treatment system, and then I'm gonna go to diesel particulate filter, and then I'm gonna go Cummins, and then I'm gonna say I have an ISX 15, and now the system's gonna give me 5 options or 6 options there. So what we do is we detail out down here in the notes kind of what every option is, right? That's that year range. This is a different year range. We list out the body heights and the lengths. So you can see on this one there is a difference here. This one's got a 14-inch length, same year range. This one has a 13-inch length. So your parts professionals would be able to kind of discern which one they need. And again, you can click that and go through the same process to do the cross-reference to see what alternatives exist for those part numbers.
And what I like about this is if you have a parts person that doesn't have a lot of experience and the customer comes in, throws a DPF filter on the counter and says, I need one, very quickly they can start asking some intelligent questions based on, only having to look at 6 options as opposed to just kind of having that glossy-eyed look and deer in the headlights like, I don't even know where to begin.
Yeah, another favorite one of mine is the engine filters. So today, just go filters, engine filters, pick your manufacturer, whoever it is, pick your model engine that you have, and our system will come here. And, if we have defaulted to Fleetguard right now, but again, you can see all the filters and the options that are available for those, and then click the button and then cross it to your favorite brand that you prefer for your filters.
Right. As soon as you hit view part detail, it connects to the parts cross-reference and you're in.
Yep, and as you can see, there's a ton. I'm just trying to click through here to give everyone an idea of what we have in here. So there's a lot of content in there, and again, a whole team in the background creating more content on a weekly basis.
Awesome. Let's talk about just before we go to advanced tools, there's a VIN code there. I'd like to just give people a scope of what's provided because it's not a complete VIN like it would be if we were a truck dealer.
Yeah, so I'm just going to go here on Google real quick and grab a random VIN number and pop it in so everyone can see. So I'm going to go in and pop in a VIN, and I'll talk about today's state and I'll talk about future state. So today's state, we've gone through, we put in as much information as we can possibly glean from the manufacturers. The engine, we have the year, make, model, we have where it's made, the axle ratings, all those things are in there. So that part's easy. What we'll be doing in the near future here, and this is a Q1 thing, is we'll be able to take a VIN and actually, because now we know your year, make, model, and I showed you guys the component lookups and exploded views, our VIN decoder will actually show you, here's your VIN, type it in, here's the filters you need, or the water pump you need, or the injectors you need. We'll be listing common components inside our VIN decoder, which I think is a really cool feature that's easily doable at this point.
Right, so it's not going to be on par with a truck OE, of course, but in the sense of aftermarket, this is going to give people a lot of flexibility and parts knowledge that just wasn't available in the open market before. So we're pretty excited about that. We have manufacturers there. Very quickly, we can explain that. The system is going to be updated very soon, and all the manufacturers that have worked with us and given us data, they're going to be preferred manufacturers and they're going to be listed there. There's going to be lots of valuable information about their warranty and about them, just to give people an idea of who is partnering with the platform and working with giving us the data. You have shopping there. Can you explain that?
Yeah, so I mean, we would love to connect buyers to sellers. We have people that are using our parts platform to look up parts. I know there's people listening to this right now that sell parts, and there's people that buy parts. And we definitely want to create a platform where we can connect those people together. So if you're on the side of selling parts, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to talk to you. And let's see if there's a way we can help each other out here.
Really, yeah, fulfillment partnership is going to be a major part of the success story. So we wanted to talk about that. Used components, that's a partner of ours, truckpartinventory.com.
It is. Great guys over there. So we said, hey, we want to have a platform that has everything to do with parts. What can you guys do for us? And they said, no problem. We'll let you guys fully integrate with us. So for today, we just added used engines and used transmissions. But customers can easily go in here and they can then filter down here through the list on the left, and they can click through these and see what options are available. So again, they're a marketplace. You're not buying from Truck Parts Inventory or us. We're just kind of like the eBay here, showing you, hey, these are people that have these things. Go ahead and call that phone number or click here to view all the details and view more, and email them or do whatever you need to do to try to go resource or find that main transmission or engine that you're trying to locate.
Okay, and so advanced tools is something that we want to talk about now. And advanced tools really could also be described as custom reporting and data. And so we've got 6 categories here, and let's just quickly go through each one. So in essence, what is inventory analysis? Yep. What kind of a custom report does someone get?
These tools are advanced features. Specifically, inventory analysis, it's a great tool because what that'll do is we can analyze a retailer's inventory, someone that sells parts. We can find where you have overlapping inventory on your shelf, which we call frozen capital, because you have 2 parts that cross. You didn't even know it. Mass cross feature is another feature that we can basically cross-reference. Instead of one part at a time, we can get an entire list from you, and we can cross-reference it literally in minutes and give you a report back on all those things to do with cross-referencing parts.
What about VMRS codes?
Yep, VMRS. So same thing. Instead of looking up one part at a time, give us a list of your part numbers. We'll go through, we'll dump it into our system, and we'll give you a spreadsheet back that shows all the VMRS codes for all the parts that we matched in our system.
And we talked a little bit about the value of cleaning up your database. Data is so important today. Part number cleanup, how does that work?
Yeah, so we use basically take a dirty list of parts, any list of parts. It could be from a fleet, it could be from a retailer, and we put it in our system, and we essentially match it up with the clean part numbers we know that exist today. Oftentimes people have those weird suffixes and prefixes and slashes and dashes and star symbols and everything else, or spaces, and we kind of come back and say, this is what you gave us, this is the manufacturer, and this is the proper part number the manufacturer uses. So it makes it a lot easier to talk to our system when you're doing these other functions, if that's something that needs to be done. Or you have a customer that just has a bunch of part numbers and they don't know what they have, we can at least tell you what they have fairly quickly.
Excellent. And for part number, for compare manufacturer, now we could compare parts manufacturers or actual trucks against each other.
Yep. So in this particular one, we're comparing people that make parts. So in this particular one, we can say, hey, I want to see every part that, say, International makes and Volvo makes that cross to each other. People wouldn't think an OE to OE would cross. They definitely do. And we can take aftermarket to aftermarket. So if you want to compare, say, Monroe with Gabriel and see what parts cross with each other, it takes us a couple seconds. We just pick the two manufacturers from a list. We hit a button and the system pushes out a report to us.
Yeah, and you get a email back to you with all the parts that cross and all the parts that don't. So in that Gabriel Monroe example, there's around 5,500 parts that those two manufacturers make that are identical. Monroe has 629 parts the last time I checked that are completely unique from Gabriel, and Gabriel has about 550, something like that, that are unique to Monroe. So that gives you an idea of coverage and can really help you make some decisions about what line is best for the customers that you're servicing. So what does it fit? That's an interesting one. I really look forward to talking about that one.
Yeah, so this is a really cool thing we built where essentially we take a part number and we do it in reverse. So we type in a part number, like I did that A6909, we can type it in and it'll ping our entire database of lookups, and we give a report back that says this part fits these year, make, model, transmission, engine, trucks, whatever it may be. So it allows people, I think, to take a part and be able to make a decision on it instead of them just saying, I don't know what it is, I'm throwing it in the garbage, or it's going to sit here for the next 20 years.
Awesome. Well, this has been a very quick overview of diesel parts. Tyler, any closing message that you'd like for this group?
Hey, I just want to say I appreciate everyone's time, watching this and spending time with us. This is definitely a thing that we are all in on at Diesel Laptops. We have over 30 people that are constantly working on this in various fashions. We have parts professionals, we have engineers, we have software people, we have graphic artists, a lot of people putting a lot of content in this. And our goal is definitely to make this the one place you go through to do everything you need to look up or learn about truck parts. And I think we're well on our way to doing that.